Over the past several years, there have been numerous articles ranking the hobbies of men in the eyes of women. Controversy has emerged from the negative perception of hobbies like video games, smoking, and arguing online, which is not a hobby, it is a problem. Some claim that if you combine these rankings, the ideal man would build archery equipment, read and write in several foreign languages, cook from scratch, and travel abroad to stargaze. Now, from my perspective, I am happily married, and I essentially get to watch all of this drama unfold from the sidelines, as I have no direct interest, but it is still amusing, which is why I instead want to talk about the 5 best Hobbes for mathematicians. No, the title is not a typo, this whole intro is a fake-out. Wikipedia lists us 5 Hobbeses, Hobbees, and I'm too lazy to do more research. Besides, Wikipedia is a solid filter for significance, as you can clearly see because of my lack of an article on there. Starting off at number 5, we have Roger Hobbes, Member of English Parliament for Bath in May 1413. This is the whole article. There is nothing more to say about him. So let's discuss hobgoblins in general. Hobbes is an English name, so this whole list is going to be a bunch of Anglos and Anglo-Americans. If you don't like the English, I get it. I have enough Irish in my blood to be insulted if I am compared to famous Brits that I vaguely resemble. No, they aren't the handsome ones. Number 4, Thomas Hobbes, philosopher. He's probably the most famous on the list, writer of the book Leviathan, which introduced the social contract theory. While I disagree with his materialist rejection of metaphysics, and have several bones to pick with his political philosophy, I won't hold the latter against him since he wrote Leviathan on the heels of the English Civil War. My bigger issue? His mathematical crackpottery. Since the time of Euclid, there have been a number of problems in geometry that mathematicians of all levels have tried to solve via a straight edge and compass, without an extrinsic length scale like a ruler. Numbers built this way are called constructible. Hobbes claims to have squared the circle, cubed the sphere, and doubled the cube. To do so, he would need to prove that the numbers pi and the cube root of 2 are constructible. Ultimately, thanks to the combined efforts of mathematicians like Gauss, Galois, Wantzel, and Lindemann, constructible numbers were fleshed out and Hobbes was proven wrong. For a very informal argument, constructible numbers are rational, or roots to rational polynomials of degree of some power of 2. The cube root of 3 is a solution to this polynomial here, which is not of degree 2 to the n, and pi is transcendental, which means that there is not a rational polynomial which has pi as a root. Now Hobbes didn't know this, but it gives us confidence to know that he was wrong, and if it were just a single bad proof, I wouldn't hold that against him either. But he was quickly refuted by Wallis, a mathematician who is mostly known for the Wallis product, shown on screen. They went back and forth for 5 to 10 years, writing a whole bunch of pamphlets about each other, including a pamphlet from Wallis entitled Hobbesius Hotum Timoreminus, which roughly translates to Hobbes the Self-Tormentor. This is basically YouTube drama tier, where people watch videos and fight point by point about what the other person said. And this seems to be most of his otherwise unremarkable math career. Now I want to circle back to his philosophy. Hobbes is understood to be an important figure building to the Enlightenment, which is marked by knowledge and philosophy being obtained in a rational manner. Hobbes' works themselves take on a Euclidean style of writing, but if his work in actual Euclidean geometry was at his time refuted, and later to be proven incorrect, his insistence that he was correct is rather worrisome, in that it suggests a lack of self-reflection and criticism of his own work. And if he didn't do it for geometry, it would suggest his philosophical works lacked the same reflection. Leviathan would go on to spread its tentacles throughout the Enlightenment and into modern political theory, so it's really important to pin down if it's correct or not. To finish, I want to draw a comparison with Plato, the earliest prominent political philosopher. Their metaphysics are totally opposed, with Plato believing reality was on the forms, which Hobbes rejects wholesale. But more importantly, Plato thought that mathematical thinking was crucial in philosophy, famously inscribing upon the entrance to his academy, "Let none ignorant of geometry enter here," and spent a modest portion of his book The Republic on the very topic of mathematical education. I wonder if Plato would allow Hobbes into the academy at all. With that out of the way, let's get on to our honorable mention, Frederic Hobbes, spelled without the E, so he doesn't strictly make the list. But if it were spelled correctly, I would probably place him about here. A filmmaker and sculptor, his works explore the clash of industry and nature, and some of his work is displayed in major museums like the Met. Number 3, John Oliver Hobbes, pen name for Pearl Mary Teresa Richards, an American writer during the turn of the 20th century. She converted into the Roman Catholic Church at the start of her writing career, and the titles of her works like The Sinner's Comedy, A Study in Temptations, and The School for Saints seem to reflect this quite a bit. Number 2, Halliwell Hobbes, an English actor who acted in a number of movies in the 1930s through 50s. I think his popularity might grow in the coming decade, due to a pet theory of mine which I've wanted to talk about. Basically, public domain laws in the US are coming to their end for movies from the 1930s over the next decade, including works like those of the Marx Brothers, The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, and Snow White. I believe this will lead to some revival of early talking pictures, with the horror parodies of Winnie the Pooh being an example of what we might expect to see more of in the coming decade. Streaming services might curate a collection of these public domain films as a way to inflate their catalog sizes and to cut through the junk. Wikipedia also has a list of public domain films, and individual pages may even have the full films on site, which I think is really cool. So keep an eye open in the coming years for more films like that to come out. Number 1. Hobbes. He is in contention for GOAT comic book character. The only marks against him in that race is that he is a tiger rather than a goat, and that he is named after Thomas Hobbes. Hobbes is a contradiction, embodying the magic of imagination and the complexities of human relationships. To Calvin, a mischievous young boy, Hobbes is a living, breathing tiger, a best friend, confidant, and partner in crime. To everyone else, he's just a stuffed animal. This duality captures the essence of childhood, that ability to hold contradictory realities and live fully in both. Hobbes is witty, philosophical, and endlessly curious, often grounding Calvin's wild schemes with humor and wisdom. Their dynamic is timeless, blending absurd adventures together with deep moments of reflection. Hobbes' charm lies in his reliability. Whether he is a tiger or a toy, he represents the unfiltered joy, curiosity, and companionship that defines our best relationships. If you have never read Calvin and Hobbes, definitely do so. In large part for Hobbes, but Calvin is great too. And that wraps up the 5 best Hobbes for mathematicians. If you want to see my actual recommendations for hobbies for mathematicians, comment below so I can get additional data points, and like and subscribe, so that you can watch all my content as it comes out. Thank you for watching.